If you're hearing this, there's a reason. You didn't press play by accident, my friend. Somewhere inside you, a thought has been growing, a whisper that says, I am meant for more than this. You might not see the money yet. You might not drive the car yet. You might still be looking at your bank account thinking, how is this ever going to change? But listen closely. Wealth never begins in the numbers. It begins in the nature of a person, in the thoughts they repeat, in the standards they set when no one is watching. Napoleon Hill spent a lifetime studying this. He wrote that riches start as an idea, a burning purpose planted in your mind long before the world can see any proof. So if lately something in you feels different, if your old life no longer fits, if you feel restless in places where you used to feel comfortable, you are not broken. You are evolving. Tonight I want you to listen to yourself through these words, not as a stranger, but as a man being introduced to his future self. Because if you are seeing these signs in your life right now, you are already walking toward wealth. Not only the money kind, the kind of wealth that makes you strong, calm, and dangerous in the best way. Let's begin. You may have noticed the first sign already. Your patience with an average life is disappearing. You used to tolerate it, the pointless conversations, the nights wasted scrolling, the routine of waking up with no clear mission, just trying to make it through the day. Back then it bothered you, but not enough to change. Now it doesn't just bother you, it irritates you. You sit in a room where people gossip and your spirit goes quiet. You listen to complaints about everything and responsibility for nothing, and something in you switches off. You look at old habits and think, this isn't me anymore. That's not frustration. That's identity waking up. There comes a day when a man stops asking, how do I fit in here? And starts asking, why am I still here at all? Have you felt that? Have you caught yourself pulling away from the places that keep you small? If you have, that's the first quiet sign. Your inner standard has risen. Your outer life just hasn't caught up yet. Napoleon Hill called it a definite chief aim, a clear central purpose. You might not have the entire blueprint written out yet, but you can feel it, can't you? A vague outline of the man you're supposed to be. You picture him sometimes. He wakes up earlier. He moves with intention. He doesn't waste time explaining his dreams to people who only know excuses. That version of you is not fiction. He is a future fact calling you forward. Here's your first micro challenge. Tonight, before you sleep, take 5 minutes. Just 5. Write one sentence that describes that man, not his bank account, not his car. Describe his character. I am a man who fill in that blank with something that scares you a little, something that feels bigger than your current life. That sentence is your first brick. The second sign that you are on the path to wealth is simple. You have become uncomfortable wasting time. You used to treat hours like loose coins, easy to toss away. Now, you feel almost guilty throwing your time at meaningless things. You open an app, scroll for 10 minutes, and immediately think, what did I just trade my future for? You sit in a conversation that goes nowhere, and a voice inside whispers, I could be building something right now. That's not you being antisocial. That's you starting to see time the way wealthy minds see it. Time is not free. It has compound interest. One focused hour every day doesn't just add up. It multiplies. It trains your mind. It builds your skills. Ask yourself this. In the last week, how many hours did you invest and how many did you just spend? You don't have to judge yourself. You just have to be honest. Here's your next micro challenge. Tomorrow, choose 1 hour, not the whole day, just one focused hour. During that hour, you do only one thing that moves your life forward. Studying a skill, planning a business move, improving your body, cleaning your environment. 1 hour, one mission, no distractions. When that hour ends, you will feel something new. You'll feel the weight of momentum. And once you taste that feeling often enough, mindless time wasting becomes almost painful. That pain is a gift. It's the pain of a man who can no longer tolerate his own potential being ignored. Another sign is starting to appear in your thinking. You've begun to think beyond today. Most people live inside the emotion of the moment. If it feels good now, they say yes. If it doesn't, they run. But you lately have started asking different questions. If I keep doing this for 5 years, where does it lead? If I say yes to this, what am I saying no to? That's long-term thinking. That's the seed of wealth consciousness Napoleon Hill wrote about. Wealthy people don't just ask, how does this feel right now? They ask, who does this turn me into? Look at your recent choices. Maybe you stopped going out every weekend. Maybe you cut down on junk food. Maybe you're teaching yourself something on YouTube instead of just being entertained by it. From the outside, those changes seem small, insignificant. But small habits are not small. They are quiet votes being cast for the man you're becoming. Every repetition of discipline is a vote. Every compromise is also a vote. Which side is winning in your life right now? You don't need perfection. You just need the scoreboard to start leaning in favor of your future self. Let's talk about your relationship with money itself. Most of your life, you might have feared money. Maybe you saw arguments about it at home. Maybe you grew up hearing, money doesn't grow on trees, people like us never get rich, or rich people are greedy. Those phrases sink into the subconscious. They whisper, money is dangerous. Money is for them, not for you. So every time you got money, you spent it fast. Or you avoided looking at your accounts. Or you sabotaged opportunities without fully knowing why. But recently, that fear is softening. You've started to see money for what it really is, not a god, not a monster, a tool. Money magnifies who you are. If you are irresponsible, it multiplies your chaos. If you are disciplined, it multiplies your impact. You're beginning to realize that money doesn't save you, it serves you. And that shift changes everything. Instead of asking, how can I get more money right now? You start asking, how can I become more valuable? That question is pure Napoleon Hill. Riches follow usefulness. They trail behind service. If you've started dreaming of building something that helps people, if you have begun to think, how can I solve a problem, not just get a paycheck, then wealth has already entered your mind. The bank balance will catch up later. Here's a simple example. Imagine a man named Kareem. For years, he worked a job he hated. He complained every day on his lunch break, blamed his boss, blamed the economy, blamed everything but himself. One day, he's scrolling social media and sees a clip about developing a valuable skill. Something in him stirs. He doesn't make a big announcement. He doesn't tell his friends. He just decides every evening for 1 hour he will learn digital marketing or programming or design. It doesn't matter which skill you imagine. What matters is the decision. The first few nights, he's tired. The content feels confusing. He wants to quit. But he remembers the life he said he wanted. He remembers his future kids. He remembers that sick feeling in his stomach every Monday morning. So he keeps showing up. 6 months go by. No one sees a huge change yet. But Kareem has changed inside. He doesn't fall for every distraction. He looks at his job differently. Not as a prison, but as a temporary funding source for his training. A year later, he's making extra. Money using his skill, not millions, but unmistakable progress. 2 years later, he has options. He can negotiate, he can leave, he can build. What changed? His life, not luck, not a miracle, not the perfect time. 1 hour a day, one decision to become useful. You might be Kareem right now, standing at the start of that road, feeling small, unprepared, late. You are not late. You are right on time. Another sign you're on the path to wealth is this. Your tolerance for certain people is shrinking, not because you think you're better than them, but because you are no longer willing to betray your future just to stay comfortable in your past. You listen to friends laughing about how everyone is broke. You hear people say, life is just about having fun, why stress? And something in you goes, quiet. It's not that you never laugh, it's not that you never relax, but you are beginning to feel the weight of responsibility. You are starting to think about your future family, about your parents, about the people you might employ one day. You see, Napoleon Hill talked about the power of a mastermind, a circle of minds focused on growth. You can't step into that kind of circle if you are still addicted to the comfort of everyone liking you. So, gently, quietly, you begin to distance yourself. You reply less in certain group chats. You say no to certain invitations. You choose books, courses, or business talks over endless parties. People notice. Some may say you've changed. Some may mock you. Some may try to pull you back with, "Come on, you're not like those motivated people. Just chill." In those moments, remember this: the path of wealth is not crowded. It never has been. Here's your next micro challenge. Take a look at your top 5 closest people. Ask yourself, do they speak more about problems or solutions? Do they encourage progress or excuse laziness? You don't need to cut anyone off with anger. You just need to spend more of your limited energy in rooms where growth is normal. Because proximity is powerful. Sit long enough with people who take their life seriously, and you will start to take yours seriously too. There is another deep sign, and it might surprise you. Adversity feels different now. In the past, every setback felt like proof that you were cursed. You missed an opportunity and told yourself, "See, nothing ever works out for me." You failed a test and thought, "I'm just not smart enough." But lately, when something goes wrong, you respond differently. You might still feel the sting. You are human. But after the emotion settles, another thought rises. What is this trying to teach me? You stop asking, "Why me?" You start asking, "What now?" That is huge, because wealth requires a strong container. If your character is weak, abundance will destroy you. If your emotions are wild, opportunity will overwhelm you. Life knows this, so before it gives you more, it tests you with little fires. When your plans get delayed, do you quit? When people doubt you, do you collapse? When you make a mistake, do you hide or do you adjust? Every time you choose to learn instead of fall apart, you are proving something to yourself: I can be trusted with more. That right there is a sign of inner wealth. Let me give you another short story. Imagine a young man, Amir. He starts a small online business. He puts his heart into it, sleeps late, works hard, posts content, creates offers. The first launch fails, few sales, little response. Old Amir would have said, "See, I knew this wasn't for me. I'm not one of those successful people, but the Amir we're talking about now is different." He sits down, opens a notebook, and writes 3 questions. 1, what did I do well? 2, what did I do poorly? 3, what will I do differently next time? He realizes his offer wasn't clear, his audience was confused, his message was weak. So he studies, he rewrites, he tries again. The second attempt still isn't a grand slam, but it's better. He sees improvement. By the 3rd and 4th attempt, people start noticing his brand. Money begins to move. The business is still small, but it's alive. What changed? Not the world. Amir changed. He stopped assigning failure to his identity. He started assigning it to his strategy. If you've begun to do that in your own life, if you've started to say, "Okay, that didn't work, let me adjust," instead of "I am a failure," then you are already richer than you think. There is a final sign I want to leave you with in this first part. It may be the most important. Your self-talk is changing. Listen to the words that echo in your mind, not the ones you post online, the ones you say in the dark. In the past, your inner voice might have been cruel. You always mess things up. You're too late. You're just not that guy. But lately, have you noticed a second voice beginning to speak? A quieter, stronger one? Maybe after you make a mistake, it says, "Okay, we learn, we move." Maybe when you look in the mirror, you still see flaws, but you also see potential. You see a man under construction, not a man beyond repair. That shift is not small. It is everything. Because you cannot build a wealthy life while constantly attacking yourself. You cannot expect the world to see your value if you refuse to see it first. So here is your next micro challenge, and I want you to take it seriously. For the next 7 days, every morning before you touch your phone, speak 1 sentence out loud. "I am becoming the man who can handle everything I'm asking for." Say it slowly. Say it like you mean it, even if you don't fully believe it yet. Why? Because your subconscious listens to repetition. Napoleon Hill knew this. Affirmed thoughts, charged with emotion, sink deep and begin to shape who you are. Every time you speak power over your life instead of defeat, you are rewriting your internal script. You are training your mind to see you as a capable man, not a helpless one. And when a man, truly believes he is capable, his decisions change, his posture changes, his standards change. Wealth follows those changes like a shadow follows a body. You may still be living in a small apartment. You may still be sharing a room. You may still be surrounded by people who don't understand what you're trying to do. But inside, something has shifted. You are less entertained by nonsense. You are more attracted to wisdom. You are more aware of your time, your habits, your circle, your thoughts. That is not a coincidence. That is the beginning of wealth. Right now you are being forged, tested, refined. The world might not notice yet, but life has already taken note of the man you are becoming. And this is just the foundation. Because once you recognize these signs, the next question is simple and dangerous. What happens when you stop ignoring them? What happens when you stop flirting with your potential and start committing to it with everything you have? You said yes. That one word is more powerful than you realize. Most men never say yes to their own evolution. They hesitate. They wait until they feel ready. They wait for motivation. They wait for the perfect moment that never arrives. Not you, not anymore. Now we enter the uncomfortable part of growth, the part where you remove the mental weights that have been holding you down for years. This is the part most people avoid. That's why most people stay average. But you didn't come here to stay average. Let's begin. Limit first. The belief that someone is coming to save you if you want to know the quickest way to stay stuck, it's this. Waiting. Waiting for support. Waiting for encouragement. Waiting for someone to give you permission. Waiting for the right time, the right mood, the right confidence. Let me tell you something dangerous and liberating. No one is coming. And that's your greatest advantage. Because the moment you stop waiting for help, you start building yourself. Napoleon Hill wrote about self-reliance of thought, the realization that your mind is the only tool you truly control. When you stop expecting someone to rescue you, you begin expecting more from yourself. And that shift turns you from a spectator into a creator. Here's your micro-challenge tonight. Write down the one thing you've been waiting on. Then write this beneath it: I am done waiting. Say it out loud. That sentence is you reclaiming power you didn't know you gave away. Limit second, the fear of outgrowing people. Listen carefully. Every next level of your life will demand a version of you that fewer people understand. You will outgrow friends. You will outgrow habits. You will outgrow mindsets that once felt comfortable. But here's the truth you must swallow. Growth is subtraction before it becomes addition. Like a rocket, you must drop weight before you can rise. Let me ask you this. Why do you feel guilty when you start improving? Why do you worry about how your elevation will make other people feel? Because you were taught the wrong idea, that loyalty means staying the same. It does not. Loyalty is doing what is right, not what is comfortable. Loyalty is becoming the strongest version of you, so you can one day lift others, not drown with them. Here's your micro-challenge. Identify one relationship in your life that drains more energy than it gives. You don't need to cut them off. Just reduce your access. Your future self will thank you. Limit third, the habit of hiding your power. Every man has two lives, the one he lives publicly and the one he sees in his mind. The problem is that most men never allow the second life to escape. They keep their potential locked behind fear. What if I fail? What will people think? What if I'm not good enough? Let me give you the cure. You cannot fail at becoming yourself. Every mistake is refinement. Every attempt is data. Every failure is a stepping stone disguised as embarrassment. Do you know what's actually embarrassing? Living your entire life at half strength. Napoleon Hill wrote something profound. The world does not pay men for what they could do. It pays them for what they actually do. Potential doesn't get rewarded. Action does. Here's your micro-challenge. For 7 days, do one thing daily that makes you slightly uncomfortable. Speak up, apply, try, post, ask, start. Your confidence grows when you repeatedly prove to yourself that the fear was a liar. Limit fourth, the stories you keep repeating about your past. You think your past is a fact, but it's actually a story you tell yourself repeatedly until it becomes the lens through which you see your future. I always lose. Nothing works out for me. I wasn't raised in a successful family. I'm too old. I wasted too many years. I don't have the personality for success. These aren't facts. These are scripts you've memorized. But here's the truth. Your past is not a prison unless you keep locking yourself inside it. You are not the same man you were 5 years ago. You are not even the same man you were 5 months ago. So why should an outdated version of you determine the next 40 years? You must rewrite the story, boldly, deliberately. Here's your micro challenge. Write down the biggest negative belief you carry about your past. Then ask yourself, who taught me this? Is it actually true? Who would I be if I didn't believe this anymore? You will feel something unshackle inside you. Limit fifth. The addiction to comfort. Comfort is the silent killer of ambition. It whispers you're tired. You deserve to relax. You can start tomorrow. You've done enough for today. Comfort is not your friend. Comfort is the enemy disguised as a warm blanket. Every great man you admire, every wealthy, disciplined, powerful man, had to choose discomfort repeatedly. Discomfort is the gym that shapes your character. Every push, every effort, every disciplined choice is a rep. Do you know why life stays hard? Because you choose what is easy. When you start choosing what is hard, life becomes easier. Here's your micro challenge. Do one physically uncomfortable thing tomorrow. A cold shower, a long walk, a workout, a run. When you train your body, you train your mind. A man who can control his impulses can control his destiny. Limit sixth, the small vision you have for yourself. Let me ask you something dangerous. When you imagine your future, do you imagine abundance or do you imagine survival? Most men imagine barely making it, getting by, having enough. Why? Because the world taught them to stay humble, stay realistic, stay within the limits of what is safe. But hear this clearly, realistic thinking has ruined more dreams than failure ever will. You were not born to barely scrape by. You were not created to just get through life. You were built with enormous potential, not because of your past, but because of your mind. Everything extraordinary that has ever been created on earth came from someone who refused to think small. Your vision must scare you a little. It must feel too big for your current life. That's how you know it's the right one. Here's your micro challenge. Close your eyes tonight for 60 seconds. Visualize the biggest version of your life, your home, your body, your business, your family, your energy, your impact. Say these words: I permit myself to want this, because wanting more is not arrogance, it is alignment. Limit seventh, your fear of becoming a leader. Let's be honest, you know you are meant to lead. You can feel it in your bones. But leadership scares you because it requires responsibility. A leader can't blame others. A leader can't hide. A leader can't stay small. But leadership does not mean being loud. Leadership means this: you become the kind of man others feel safe following. Disciplined, focused, wise, calm under pressure, reliable, rooted in purpose. This world is starving for men like that. You feel it too, don't you? The sense that you are meant to be one of them. Your fear is not a sign that you shouldn't lead. Your fear is the doorway to leadership. Walk through it. Here's your micro challenge tomorrow. Take responsibility for one thing you normally avoid. Something simple. But do it without delay, excuse, or complaint. Leadership begins there. You are breaking the old version of you, the shift. Listen to me. Something is changing inside you right now. You may not feel it fully yet, but it's happening. You're starting to think differently. You're starting to respond differently. You're starting to rise, not in money yet, but in mindset. And that is how every wealthy life begins.